All right, welcome back. So we left at the last lesson talking about fruit fly traits. We're going to take that one a step further now, and we're going to look at the gene theory of inheritance. I think this will clear up some genetic stuff for you and why we talk so much about chromosomes in Unit 5. So here we go. Let's begin. So the gene theory is the theory that states that the traits that we observe in organisms are coded in genes, and those genes are found on the chromosomes. That's what it says. All right. Now, that may not sound too surprising to you because we live in a day and age where DNA and chromosomes are terms utilized in pop culture. But there are several tenets of the gene theory that I think you guys need to be aware of. Number one tenet says genes are located on chromosomes. Okay, sounds good. Number two is that each gene occupies a specific spot on that chromosome. And that's important. So when we map out a genome, we want to know not only what the gene is, what it does, but where is it located? So we can literally make a map of a chromosome. We're going to find that gene right along there. Okay? The other thing it says is that each chromosome contains one allele for each gene. Now, since genes always come in pairs for diploid organisms like that, that means you're going to have two alleles for every gene, which we just saw in the last lesson, giving us terms like heterozygous and homozygous and purebred and hybrid. All right, so we're going to use a fruit fly because fruit flies are fantastic for studying genetics. Nobody cares when they die, really. They have a simple set of genes, and they reproduce really, really quickly. And so we can track heredity really well with them. And also, they're really easy to raise. Having fruit flies, not a problem. So the fruit fly has 8 chromosomes. Here are the chromosomes. They get 4 from mom, and they got 4 chromosomes from their dad, right? So here are the chromosomes they got from mom. Now remember that all chromosomes need a partner, creating a homologous pair. So dad's chromosomes will come in here and partner up with mom's. And so this would be the genome of a fruit fly, looking at it in chromosome form. Now, I just made these drawings up, but fruit flies really do have 8 chromosomes in them. Okay? And so nothing I'm going to be telling you here is false. It's just that I've simplified things greatly. All right. So anyway, each one of these is a chromosome, and each little pair here forms a homologous pair. So this is a 2N fruit fly. We could say it has 8 chromosomes, or we could say it has 4 homologous pairs. Now let's take these homologous pairs, and we're going to zoom in on just the simplest one, the small one here. Okay, so I'm going to ignore these 3 homologous pairs over here and just focus in on this one. Now, in this case, I greatly simplified things. I only put 4 genes on there, okay? So what I want you to note is that there's this gene R on top. There's gene L, gene B, and then gene H, okay? So each one of these, again, is a chromosome, and this is our homologous pair that we're looking at. All right, so again, when I'm talking about a gene, I'm talking about all of the alleles in that particular location on that specific chromosome. So the L gene is right here. What does L code for? We'll see in just a minute. All right, so here's the L gene, the R gene, the B gene, and the H gene. In this case, I made it really overtly obvious. Over here, we've got dominant alleles, and over here, we've got recessive alleles. That's not necessarily the way things would really shake out, as we'll see in an example in just a minute, but I'm trying to keep things as organized as possible for you guys. All right, so what are those traits? Well, what does the R gene code for? The R gene codes for eye color, and there are 2 different alleles for that. The dominant allele is red eyes, big R, and the recessive allele is black eyes, little r. The L gene represents the gene for wing size, and we've got 2 different alleles for that gene. Big L is long wings, little l is short wings. The B gene is for body color. Big B is brown, little b is black. I actually used that in the last lesson. And then body texture is the H gene. A big H makes a hairy fly. A little h is the trait of smooth-bodied flies. All right, so let's take a couple of very different looking fruit flies and breed them together. Here's mom and here's dad. I tried to make them as different as possible, but not 100%. All right, so what we want to do is we want to breed these 2 flies together and see what we get out of it. So let's first look at the genotypes and phenotypes for mom and dad. Let's start with mom here. So for eye color gene, mom is homozygous red-eyed, right? She's got big R for her genotype. For her wings, she's long wings, but she's heterozygous long wings. She's got a big L and a little L on this chromosome over here. For body color, she has a black body. And so we could say she's homozygous black because she has the little b allele and the little b allele. And then for body, she has a smooth body because she is also recessive, fully homozygous recessive, meaning homozygous of the recessive trait for little h, little h. Dad, on the other hand, has the recessive trait for eyes. He's got black eyes, having received both little r black eye-colored alleles. He's got long wings, just like mom, and he's heterozygous for that too, so he's got both traits. He is also heterozygous for his brown body, big B, little b, and he is hairy, which has the dominant H allele on this chromosome, and he received the recessive H allele on this chromosome. So he's heterozygous hairy. There's a lot of words in there. That's why we really got to practice these things, and practice them you shall. Those words do not go away for the entire unit. All right, so let's breed them. Let's say that mom happens to, here I'm going to move myself. I am not the child, but I'll replace my picture with the child in just a moment. So let's say mom donates when she makes her gametes. Remember, with gametes, you can only give one of your homologous pairs. So mom is going to donate this one right here. Okay, so mom has donated big R, little l, little b, little h. And dad is going to donate this chromosome right here. Little r, little l, little b, big H. All right, so let's see what the offspring is going to look like here. So we've got big R, little r, so it's going to be heterozygous for the dominant trait, which means this one is going to have red eyes like mom. For wings, though, it happened to inherit the recessive allele from both parents. And so it's going to have the recessive trait of short wings. This is a novel trait. Mom and dad have long wings, and they made a baby fly with short wings. It's going to have received both recessive little b alleles, so it's going to have a black body like its mother. So at the moment, this fly is looking way more like mom than dad, but it did inherit the dominant hairy gene from its dad, and so it's going to be hairy like dad. So our baby fly is going to look like this. This is the offspring of this particular breeding. Now, could mom and dad have made different looking offspring? The answer is yes, if they had donated a different combination of those particular chromosomes. I could have easily had them donate the other, or switch it around in some other way. Ultimately, I think there's 4 different combinations that I could make just using those 2 chromosomes. That's not to mention all of the other chromosomes and the real huge number of genes that actually exist. All right, but that is the basics of gene theory right there. Hope you enjoyed it. I love gene theory, and I think you'll enjoy the challenge for this one as well.